And we are back, and my good friend Eva Marie and I are talking about wonderful things that our mamas taught us, so the mamas be like, and we're focusing on purses, and we're going to kind of segue into some holiday stuff. So I'm going to bring Eva Marie in. There she is. Hello, dear.
Yeah,
Oh, we're bringing it
we're
out,
gonna
girl.
segue. Yeah, I know we're gonna segue. So I got my little Christmas bling on, and you did all your earrings, and I didn't do my earrings. I should run back in there and get some earrings. But so I'm gonna tell you my spooky purse story. When my mother passed away, I already had her hope chest. Remember back in the day, back in the mid 50s, when a bride got married, she had gotten a hope chest when she was
Oh,
in high
yes.
school.
Oh, yes.
But my mother still had her mother's hope chest, which um, they were my grandmother's family were, they were people who owned the land, and but her parents, there were eight, I think, like 8 kids. Her parents were like, if you want something, you'll work for it. We're not just going to hand you something. So she worked the cotton fields for a summer to earn the money to buy, and I think it was $50, my uncle told me, to buy this beautiful piece of furniture, this beautiful hope chest. So when mother died, I was going through that hope chest, and we were going to give the hope chest to my daughter, Jessica. But when I was going through it, I found some things that belonged to my grandmother. I found a sweater that belonged to my mother, and I knew it was my mother's because it was only about yay big. But then I found several things that belonged to my grandmother, including a 1940s purse. And I brought it home and I put it in the hope chest that I have, that was my mother's, where her wedding dress is, and a couple of mink and a rabbit stole. Remember the stoles and all that. And so I put them in there. So sometime later, I mean like years later, and I got to be honest with you, I think I opened up the purse, but I didn't really look in it. I just opened it and said, oh, this is a 40s purse, and I know it was my grandmother's because I just the stuff that was around it. So I put it away. So one day I get this phone call from a good friend of mine named Cindy, and I might butcher the story just a little bit because I can't quite remember all the details. But Cindy said, Eva, your mother was in my dreams last night. And I said, my mother? Well, she had met my mother once, same time you did. She said, yeah. She said, tell my daughter that there is an old purse. And she showed me what the purse looked like. And inside that purse is a ring. And I want her to have that ring. And I said, an old purse. And then she described it. And she said it was brown, and it was like a little box, but it was kind of fat. And it looked like it might have been from the 1940s. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, hold on. So I went and I opened up the hope chest and dug around and found the purse, and I opened it up, and tucked in the corner of one of the little pockets wasn't a ring, but it was my grandmother's watch. No. And it is so beautiful. It is just the most beautiful watch. And of course, doesn't work. And I'm sure I could have it worked on, but I don't know that it would continue to work because it's so old. So I put it in a curio cabinet because it's just got this look of antiquity about it. Just absolutely beautiful. And I said, Cindy, I found a watch. And she said, well, she said it was a ring. And I said, well, maybe she forgot. So she just thought it was a ring. It was a watch, but it's just beautiful. And it was so tucked in that I'm afraid that one day when my daughter goes through this, she may look at it and say, oh, this is just an old purse, and throw it away. And that's fine if she does. I did not know my grandmother. She certainly did not know my grandmother, but it meant a lot to me. And that's, meant a lot to my mother, which is why I kept it, because it meant something to her. So then it meant something to me.
But I love that. That's just something we're losing. Yeah. I know, but when you think about things being passed down, like I know you've probably got some dishes and silverware, and I'm thinking these brides, in today's world, they're
They
not
don't care.
interested. But
No, I've
there
got
was,
mother's crystal. Yeah.
yeah, we went to a wedding about a month ago. It was Thomas's great nephew, or my great nephew. And the woman that he married, honey, she is so Southern. She had all her fine china, and it was
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
and all of her silver. I mean, silver. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this I have not seen this in so long. How refreshing is this? But she was raised to really treasure all of those relics that we love, and all of the engraving and the monogram and the beautiful pillows. And those are the things that, I mean, what was in the hope chest?
In my grandmother's hope chest,
Yeah.
she was a quilter, so there were a lot of. She had already cut, the squares and the whatever the shapes for a quilt that she was making. So that was in there. My mother's sweater was in there. A lot of old cards, as in, like greeting cards, Valentine cards, Christmas cards, things like that. The purse was in there. I don't remember everything. I know that my mother had added some things to it, like a little outfit that my brother wore when he was little, an outfit that I wore when I was little, things like that. So yeah, just a variety of things. But I brought the quilting, I call them quilting squares, I don't know what else to call them, home with me. And there was several, bolts of material and things like that. So she probably was, my grandmother died at 50. And I, I don't think that was on her agenda for the age of 50, but that's when it happened. And she was probably right in the middle of working on, I've got many of her quilts. Some quilts were in there. So I've got many of those. My when mother died, my brother got half of them. Some of them belonged to our grandmother. Some, well, they were either made by my grandmother or my great grandmother. And then also, and I think I told you this, I have the bedspread that my great grandmother made out of tobacco twine for my great aunt. She made one for every one of her daughters. There were 5 girls. And she made one for everyone out of tobacco. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Wow. And I also have, it's on my dining room table. It's very lacy looking, but it's made out of tobacco twine, which is why it's lasted 100 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the tablecloth. So that stays on my table all the time. I take it off for special occasions, but
and I'd like for folks that are watching to share in the comments on YouTube or wherever some valuable things. It doesn't have to be monetarily valuable.
No.
Valuable memories and things that they have found maybe or discovered. I found a couple of rings that were in my grandmother's sewing box. And beautiful rings. A solid gold band and another beautiful, I don't even know what the stone is, but I had it cleaned up. And so I didn't look for that. It was just there. So I was hiding it, just to keep it so she'd know where it was.
Right.
But I love stuff like that. So I tell you what, we're going to come back for one more show, and we're going to talk about traditions.
Yes, let's talk about food traditions.
Yes, food traditions. And your newsletter, everybody needs to sign up. And I want you to talk about your book and all the exciting things going on. And I wrote a parody. So I have got to sing the parody.
Okay,
so
we're going to do that.
Kind of kick it off. All right, until next time, folks, we will see you with tradition.